Hi everyone, I'm Cassidy Megan, founder of Purple Day. I'm on here with my good friend Richard Arnold. Ricky, would you like to do an introduction of yourself for everyone?
Sure. Hi, thanks, Cassidy. My name is Ricky Arnold. Been a NASA astronaut since 2004. I've been to the space station twice, and prior to becoming an astronaut, I was actually a middle and high school science teacher. It's great to be here with you today.
It's great to have you on here. It's amazing. So, with this theme for epilepsy and awareness, I know you have a daughter with epilepsy that was diagnosed at the age of 15. How did you and your family deal with her diagnosis of epilepsy?
Probably a lot like your mom and dad and most families, kind of surprise and disbelief that this healthy individual gets a diagnosis at 15 years old. So kind of disbelief and shock. And then we just tried to learn as much as we could about it to best support her and make sure she got the best care she could get.
That's amazing. You guys were so ready and to jump on board and learn more as much as you could for her.
We were fortunate. We were well supported. When she had her first episode, there was actually a doctor. It was a church group, and a doctor was actually there and witnessed it. So there's no question about what happened, which as a parent was super helpful. And then I was really well supported. There was a doctor at NASA, one of our flight surgeons, who had in a previous life been a neurologist, and he was really helpful and instrumental in getting the care that she needed. So very fortunate that we had access to that kind of care.
That's amazing. Your whole circle was so supportive too and helpful to you guys. What are some obstacles and challenges that you guys faced as a parent of a child with epilepsy and how did you overcome them?
Well, surprisingly, it took us, even though we knew what had happened, it took a while to get a clear medical explanation or diagnosis. When she went to the hospital, we kind of got some information that didn't kind of square with what the doctor who had witnessed it had seen. And so we actually went through, I think, to 3 different neurologists before we got her. We were fortunate living in Houston that we had access to great medical facilities, and finally got to a neurologist who did the tests and made sure the conditions are right to understand what was happening. And so that was one obstacle to figure out exactly what was going on as best you can with epilepsy. And the second piece is I told you and your mom is, even though this is a really prevalent disease, emotionally as a parent, you kind of feel like you're on an island, because there's just not a lot of talking about it. And I think that's one of the critical things about Purple Day is just the awareness that you are not alone, and that there's people all around the world and in your community and in your friend group and in your schools and where you work and where you live, where you go to church, that are suffering from the same thing. You just might not know about it.
It's so true. I like the way you put it. It's like you're on an island. I haven't heard it referred to as that before. It's a really interesting way to think about it. That it really encompasses that isolation feeling. And yeah, epilepsy is still a lot of myths and stigma. So it can be hard to talk about sometimes because of that. And it's amazing that you guys had, like I said, such good support circles with you guys, and all the access to the right doctors to help with the diagnosis and help get her on track.
And people like you who are willing to step up and share their story is really important. And the folks I met down in Houston when we got together down there, I think about those kids every day. It was remarkable just remarkable people willing to be open and share their story. It was super helpful.
It's one thing I've learned with the epilepsy community over the years. A big thing I learned is that you can always count on them to be there to help you with ideas, help you with knowing that what you're feeling is, you have a right to feel how you feel when you're going through a diagnosis and through the journey of epilepsy. They're a great support system, along with the agencies and just the whole community as a whole.
Yeah.
Did you go through their guys' epilepsy journey? Did you and your wife change anything about the way you parented your child or children, like working with their schools, outside activities? Did you guys have to make any adaptations or pullbacks, or were you?
Well, we certainly worried more to start with. Probably initially nagged her a bit more. Of course, she wants life to be normal, which is totally understandable. But we were really struggling to figure out how to support her. But once we got a handle on what some of the triggers were, and also had some better information from the neurologist, then working with her to figure out what she was capable of doing while avoiding the behavioral triggers that could lead to an episode. So that was the real thing, trying to find out where you were and what could work and what couldn't work. It's staying up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing your homework. It's probably not a good idea, but hey, mom and dad, I got to do my homework, and I got to go to the basketball game. I got practice. I got a life to live. So that was the hard part. But she was very open and communicative about it, and patient with us. Children are remarkably resilient, probably more so than adults, and so she helped us all through it by making sure we understood that she didn't have any interest in having triggering other events, and she was trying to figure out how to also do the things she wants to do in life. So just finding that balance.
That's amazing, and it's actually something my mom said too. Is throughout the journey, like, children are very resilient, and they'll find ways to still be able to do what they want to do despite anything going on in their life.
Yeah, it's true with a lot of things. Children are remarkably resilient. Adults can learn a lot from them.
How was your daughter with her diagnosis? When she was 15, it's like the throes of life and everything. How is she with it all? If you're okay to.
No, outwardly, as her parent, that's a question you probably have to ask her. She's somewhat reserved anyway, and kind of has this quiet strength, and she always has. But you're 15 and you're given this kind of great variable that you don't know how it's going to impact the rest of your life. But I would think that she handled it more responsibly than I probably would have at her age, which was very encouraging to me, and took responsibility for that self-care as best she could, which was absolutely critical.
That's amazing. And that is a question also for her, I know, but
yeah,
I like to get perspectives from how you seen it from your eyes too. The parents' perspective.
I understand. I mean, she was I don't want to she wasn't complaining about the fact that we were going from different doctors, and then of course the tests you have to get done. She was always really supportive of finding out what was going on. I think the thing that if anything frustrated her, it was the fact that there's this unknown, and what the impact is and what it's going to be. And then, and B, I'm 15, I want to be a 15-year-old. But I think she did a pretty good job as a 15-year-old of still being a 15-year-old and trying to manage all the other things that go along with it.
I think she did too, from what I know of you guys. And you and your wife did a great job at raising, being the parents to her that you could. One thing I know can also be hard with the journey of epilepsy is disclosing
Yeah.
about the epilepsy. How did your family navigate disclosing and deciding when and what to tell her school and her friends, her family? What did those conversations look like?
Well, when she had her first episode, she was in a church group. Like I said, there was a doctor there, and a fair number of her friends were already there. So folks were aware of what happened. And we left the disclosure up to her and her friends, to how she wanted to manage things with her friends. We did feel it was important, though. We talked to family. My mother was a nurse. I remember talking to her quite a bit about it. As a nurse, she has had experience with this before, and was very helpful and supportive. We had all of her high school teachers called them into a conference room with the guidance counselor, kind of explained what was going on. And as you would expect, they were incredibly supportive and empathetic. The interesting part was you could tell some of them were surprised. And again, I think this goes back to the fact this was a school of I don't know how many thousand students. She graduated with 800 other kids or 700 other kids. Statistically speaking, those teachers had other kids in their class that had the same issue, but there was a sense of surprise from a couple of them, but it was kind of empathy. It wasn't anything other than support, but that was kind of interesting. And we also talked to her coaches, who were also, as you would expect, incredibly supportive. And now that she's an adult, I don't know how she chooses to disclose it or not at this point.
It's really interesting that they were surprised, and you're right. It's statistically speaking, 1 in 26, 1 in 100 people have epilepsy, right? So there very well was other people in her school that she graduated with that had epilepsy, just like her. And
right,
it's something I've been really big on. You can't always tell who has epilepsy. It's an invisible.
Right.
It's an invisible illness. You can't tell by looking at someone, so you never know.
Right.
How does she so I know you're not sure, like you said, you're not sure how she discloses now. But how do you find she is doing living with epilepsy in her life now compared to when she was first diagnosed? Like, what are some of her accomplishments, things you're most proud of her for, and how is she living with it now compared to then, from your eyes?
But yeah, and I think when you guys met, we talked about this. She's been very fortunate that it's been very well controlled, so she was able to go off to school and finish college and off to grad school. She has her career now and is off doing wonderful things. And however, I think a piece of that's the really critical piece is the self-care, right? The awareness of what you can control and what you can't control. You can control taking your medicine regularly, avoiding alcohol, best you can, making sure you're resting, exercising, doing all those things that probably all of us should be doing on a regular basis. But control the things you can control, and certainly listen to what the doctors tell you. And I'm that's I think what I'm most proud of. She's been able to do the things she's wanted to do in life, and continues to follow doctor's orders when she, that the advice she was given when she's 15 from Dr. Chen down at Baylor College of Medicine. she has implemented and still follows.
That is amazing. And it's so true. It's, life throws you some curveballs, so to be able to stay on with all the advice given it is something to be proud about. Um, as a parent, what would you like to share with other parents of children with epilepsy that are out there going through the same journey?
Well, you're not alone, but you're probably going to need to be willing to share some of your story in order to find out that you're not alone. I had a good friend of mine that I worked with, and I remember talking to him as we were going through all of the discovery phase of what was happening. And I'd known him really well, and he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, my sister has epilepsy," and she was an older sister. And so when he talked about the fact that, yeah, she's had this diagnosis, but she's off doing things, she's had kids, her life has gone on, and there's stuff that she has to accommodate, but it's all going to be okay. And but you're only going to get that kind of, I only got that advice for him because I shared a bit of what was going on in my life. So you're not alone. But you're probably going to have to be the one that it opens up, and that's true with most things in life, right?
That's true, and it's really brave of you to have opened up like that, because as we mentioned earlier, with all the stigma still around and it not being talked about, it can be hard. So be reaching out I agree, it's a crucial factor to help
Well,
gain that support.
you've taught us all a lot about that. So
Thank you. I It's been a whirlwind of a ride, and I don't regret any of it. It's meeting everyone, hearing all their stories. It helps both me to continue with my work, and knowing that everything to come and everything I've been through is not just me.
right.
What was it like to the reason for us meeting in your backdrop? What was it like? What was it like to celebrate Purple Day in space? Did you realize like the impact it would have on your family and the epilepsy community?
No, I did not. I mean, it was wonderful to be able to do that. I had never heard of Purple Day until after my daughter's diagnosis, and it was in fact her younger sister who was the one who had us all wearing purple the back those 11 years ago. And when I started looking at the calendar and things that were coming up while I was gone, when I was going to be gone, I knew I was supposed to leave in mid-March, and I wasn't going to be back until October. So, Purple Day is going to be happening, but you're only allowed to take so much stuff up to the space station, and your clothes are kind of bought for you and shipped up, and it really wasn't until it got close to the launch time when I said, yeah, I got to take something purple up to wear. So I got a T-shirt, but our launch date was the 21st of March, and we launched from Kazakhstan, the Baikonur Cosmodrome. We spent 2 days orbiting in the Soyuz capsule, and then we docked on the 23rd. And of course, Purple Day was on the 26th. So I carried the purple T-shirt with me on the Soyuz, so I could find it, and be sure I had it with me. And I remember I got, and I was new. I hadn't been up there in a number of years, and I was busy, and we're still tired and trying to get used to life and microgravity again. And I remember getting Scott Tingle to take my picture in the cupola, which I've shared with you. And he, what's that for? I said, what's Purple Day? And I explained what was going on. But the really wonderful piece was there's an international mission management team that meets twice a week unless more is needed, and they basically oversee the day-to-day operations on the space station. And I get their minutes from those meetings, and the first thing that was announced was hey, he's wearing purple today because it's Epilepsy Awareness Day, which again, NASA is a huge community. There's probably many people who work for NASA who have epilepsy. And the other cool thing was the many people in mission control, both in Houston and Huntsville, wore purple, got their pictures taken. There's the big display screen in mission control where they had the space station solar arrays in purple. And I didn't know any of this was happening. So someone on the ground was actually paying attention to why I was wearing purple and made a really nice deal of it for the community, both in Huntsville, Alabama, and in Houston, Texas. And so I was really happy that had that impact in my community. And then when you and I finally got to meet, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really big impact for you and your friend, your circle of friends.
It it really was, getting the news that, Purple Day is celebrated in outer space. Like, I don't think I ever fathomed that it would go that far. It's like worldwide from day one, but space, right? Like like how much bigger could
Yeah,
it
well,
could
my
it
daughters
could it
my daughters
be?
played a role in that. So they actually connected me to you and connected me to Purple Day. So that was it was beautiful the way that all worked out.
It really was, and it was so great getting to meet you guys in person and becoming friends over the years since, and getting to know you guys. You guys are amazing for doing that. How did it feel for you to be doing that in honor of your daughter?
Um, it was it was in honor of her, but it was in honor of the the whole Purple Day community. I was just playing a small part. I just happened to be in a really cool, unique place to do it. So I wasn't doing anything differently than the people in Mission Control did, and people you guys do every March 26th. So, but to have it as kind of a family thing, and she connected me to you, and then finally, I remember when we talked when I talked to you from the space station, when I finally got a hold of you, because you were busier than I was, I think. And then getting to meet you and your friends and your support system down in Houston when you came down, it's been a real I don't know, enriching thing, I think, for our whole family.
Thank you. And you, it's funny you say it's, oh, I didn't do anything more. I just did a small thing, and to you, like, you just wore a purple t-shirt, but to the community, there's little kids that seen this and now that are now like, man, I could do that too. Like, there are that see, like, there are no limits even beyond the world.
Yeah,
So
I
I
well,
thank you for that.
that's my pleasure. And there's people who are have great stories to tell, who play a part in space exploration. So I'm glad to be able to share a little bit of my family and our story with all of you.
And I'm so glad I was able to be there to experience it with you guys and meet you guys. You guys are really amazing, and I'm so glad we've become friends over the years. Um, would you mind sharing with us like a bit about like what it was like to view Earth from up there? Like, and did it change like the way you look at life at all? Like, it must have been amazing to be up there in space, experiencing it all.
Yeah, it's a remarkable experience to be able to view our Earth from a low Earth orbit, to see a place like right here. We got it on the wrong side, like the islands of Tahiti and French Polynesia, and places that I probably will never get to in my lifetime, but I have this mental image of what they look like from 240 miles away. But I've had that experience of seeing that, and getting a sense for the fragility of our planet and how much we depend on it for everything. There's an American writer, Wendell Berry, who said, I'm paraphrasing, but humans need this earth every bit as much as the earthworm does. But we probably don't realize it. And so I think it gives you a perspective of the fragility of the place we call home, and how just remarkably unique it is within the cosmos, and how we desperately need to do a better job of caring for this planet and caring for each other. And I mean each other, all our fellow travelers here on planet Earth.
I cannot agree more. And I mean, even your backdrop there, it's just a still image, but it looks beautiful viewing the earth from this perspective here. It's in person, I could not imagine it. It sounds amazing though.
It's a pretty remarkable space, and I think Canada Arm managed to get in here too somewhere, it looks like. So it's always photobombing every picture.
Usually, yeah. What do you love most about being an astronaut?
The view is pretty remarkable, but really the team that you are a part of to make it happen. It's a really unique community to be a part of. Your community that you share the experience in space with, but also the community you work with in Houston and control centers around the world to show what humans can do when we put aside our differences as best we can and focus on a higher purpose. Being a part of that, and a small part of it, is just really, really rewarding.
That's amazing. I know. That's amazing that the whole crew of NASA, too, even more purple to help show their support for you, and it shows just how close they pay attention, and they are to you guys are to each other.
Yeah, I've had the experience of working with some just quite simply amazing people, and that's something I've been thankful for my entire career at NASA.
I believe it. It definitely sounds like an amazing crew, and I know you and your family, and you guys are amazing too. So I will agree with you with that. Would you be able to share some photos and videos with us from your time in space?
Absolutely. I would love to share some pictures and videos of the experience to give you a sense for what this planet looks like from low Earth orbit. Hello, I'm NASA astronaut Ricky Arnold, delivering a special personal message from the International Space Station, flying approximately 250 miles above our beautiful planet. Our crew is busy conducting a wide variety of scientific investigations, including some medical research that has benefits for life on Earth. The research conducted in our orbiting laboratory has already yielded some important medical treatments and insights. While there is currently no cure for epilepsy, the cause is near and dear to my heart. Each year on March 26th, I wear purple, the internationally recognized color of epilepsy awareness, in support of the 65 million people living with epilepsy, and to honor a close family member who is affected by this neurological disorder. Please join me, my family, friends, and people all over the world in wearing purple on March 26th to help generate conversation, increase awareness, and further our understanding of epilepsy. Thank you very much.
You are, a true inspiration to really showcase the impact that we can do and be anything, just maybe with some adaptations, right? And space is our limit. Maybe.
Well said.
Thank you so much, Ricky. I can't thank you enough for, sharing your experience with us and sharing your story and your daughter's story. I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you for welcoming us into this community. We're really appreciative for the work that you and all the folks involved with Purple Day that you do, the work your family does to support you, and it's just been we've gotten more out of this than we've given, and which is usually what happens when you interact with really great people. So thank you for welcoming us into your life.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for my family, my friends, my circle's been supportive too, much like yours. And your daughter's also really lucky to have an amazing support system and parents and family to support her as you guys did through her journey and still do. We're both really lucky to have this whole community and our families. And yes, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk soon.
Sounds good.